Hi, Daniel. My name is Ellen. I'll be correcting this essay set for you today. Let's take a look and see what you've written here. We've got the English and Homestay letter. So here's what you wrote about that. Dear Walter family, my name is Daniel Nordhausen, 26, programmer and Brazilian. I love traveling and I do have some previous experience in UK. Since 2 years ago, my wife and I went to Dublin and we loved every minute there. That's why I've decided to apply for this English and Homestay program. Okay, I thought that this was good. Um, It is, however, it's a little informal. You don't know these people, you've never met them. So the tone should be a little more formal. Okay. Typically, when we don't know somebody, when we've never met them before, we prefer a formal tone. When it's someone we've met several times, or someone we work with, perhaps a teacher, then we can be semi formal. But here, I think because you've never met the family before, that you should have been a little more formal. Now, not only that, but since it is a formal letter, you really wanted to begin your letter with the purpose for writing. This is how we begin formal letters. Okay? So that's why I would have started. Something like Dear Walter family, I would like to thank you, or I am writing to thank you for agreeing to host me as part of the English and Homestay program, as well as ask a few questions about my stay there. Okay, that for me would have been an appropriate opening sentence. And then you could have said this information. Now, regarding this information, I didn't really love the way you wrote it because it didn't really feel like a complete sentence. So maybe you should have done something else like this. My name is Daniel Nordhausen. I am a 26-year-old programmer from Brazil. That would have been good. I love traveling and I do have some experience in the UK, no comma necessary. Since 2 years ago, my wife and I went to Dublin. We loved every minute there. Okay, full stop. And then not that's why, but that is why I have decided to apply, etc., etc. Okay, so excuse me. So that would have been a little better. And then here, I would start off saying, I do have some questions prior to my arrival in the UK. That's why I would have started this. Really just signposting the purpose of the next paragraph. Okay, now that's how I would do it, but let's see what you actually wrote. I'm quite happy that you picked me to stay as a guest at your place during the program. All right, again, I don't understand this punctuation. You don't need the comma and you don't need this. Yeah, actually, you do need this one. I take that back, but you definitely don't need this one. Of every family that was available as hosts, you were definitely the easiest choice. However, I do have some doubts related to living in the city. All right, I would have taken this whole sentence out. I understand what you're trying to do, but again, I don't really feel it's entirely appropriate. So just get rid of this sentence entirely. And then just start, as I suggested before, I do have some doubts related to living in the city. But again, you could have started with prior to my arrival, I have some questions, as I do have some doubts related to living in the city. That would have been a good way to start this. I do not know how to drive a car, thus, I would depend on other kinds of transportation. Yet, I have not seen any train or subway stations nearby your place. Do you know where the closest one is? All right. Grammar, it should be is here. Another question here, this is not correct grammar. Another question I have is, could you give me some tips on how to make a living during these early days? My flight is programmed to land 7 p.m. on September 29th. I am planning to stay on course so I can. So I do not arrive too late to your home, not your accommodation. Okay, and then sincerely, and then the rest is fine. All right, so basically, um, my thoughts about this, let me tell you what they are. Um, I thought the tone was a little too informal. Like I said, you've never met these people, so it needs to be a little more formal. So you need some work with how to write a little more formally. Also, speaking of formal, these questions here, they were direct questions. One of the things that we prefer in formal writing is indirect questions. So uh, just make it sound a little more polite. Would you mind telling me? Could you let me know, please? Or would it be possible for you to tell me XYZ? Okay? Okay, what else? And then we talked a little bit about how to organize this. I'd like to see clearer signposts. In other words, topic sentences so that we know what the point of each paragraph is. Okay? And then some grammar stuff as well. All right, so it's a good attempt, but it does need a little work if you're aiming for one of those higher band scores, okay? Let's take a look at this here about, okay, staying in the same job, fine. Okay. When talking about jobs throughout our lives, there are two ways to develop our careers. Some people believe that only one job is enough for their entire lives, yet others think that it is important to handle our careers by changing jobs at least once. I somewhat agree that this is the wrong word here, not wavering, that changing or switching, did you use switching already? You could have said switching here. Switching jobs during our life is important. Okay, clear, fine. Yeah, fine. To hold a position may be the choice. Hold on here. A position isn't particularly precise. You want to say to hold one position throughout one's career. This would be far more specific, okay? So to hold one position throughout one's career may be the choice for some people. Firstly, workers can more easily get comfortable with the situation at hand. In other words, all right, here I would have put a full stop and then started a new sentence here. In other words, it would be possible to expect similar routines when staying put. Secondly, workers could carve out a niche, thus allowing them to explore every different scenario and achieve higher results regarding that occupation. Okay, can you explain what you mean here? Can you go a little in detail so that we understand this niche, so we understand the higher results? Give us like some tangible explanation of this. Finally, it is possible to relax since workers are able to plan their outcomes based on expected career planning. I don't entirely understand that either. It doesn't really feel suitably extended. So I would like a little more information here. Typically, um, examiners will tell you that you have a couple of choices when you're developing your paragraphs. You can either write one main idea, but just really extend it very fully, or you can have two ideas and extend them, okay, which is what some people do. Here, though, what you did was you had three ideas, and I felt like they were definitely not extended. Okay, so it's a better idea to stick to one idea, but absolutely extend it. If you want to add a second idea, fine, but make sure that you go into some detail about what it is you mean. You should never assume that the examiner understands what you're talking about. You have to really lay it out very clearly. Okay, let's look at the next paragraph. On the other hand, changing jobs can definitely be more exciting and prosperous. One reason is that acquiring new experiences is inevitable, as workers can expect to be more prepared when dealing with wider complications. Let me see that again. Workers can expect to be more prepared. Okay, I don't entirely understand that. I mean, grammatically, lexically, it makes sense, but what are you really telling me here? It can be more exciting. You acquiring new experience. Okay, so you acquire new experiences, right? Let me see if I understand this. You acquire new experiences and you can expect, no, because you can be you see, that part of the problem. One reason is that acquiring new experiences is inevitable as they can expect to be more prepared. Yeah, this isn't particularly logical. Okay, I think part of the problem is your use of the word as here. This implies that this causes this, but that's actually not the case. Logically, that doesn't really work. Okay, another reason is that workers can greatly expand their income in a short period of time. Here, I would have said, I don't know if I want a full stop here. Maybe not. For when going out in the wild, companies may compete for you, offering higher payment. Okay, let's leave it like that. Last but not least, being out of the comfort zone. Now, how about uh, leaving your comfort zone by jumping off of different jobs will develop. I don't like this jumping off. Will develop adaptation to deal with uncertain scenarios. Again, you need some more development here. But again, it's another paragraph where you have 3 reasons. I really want you to reduce these. 2 should be your maximum, but just make sure you develop them. Make sure you're really exploring them, explaining what you mean, giving some examples, okay? Because what you have, if you don't do that, essentially your paragraph will read like a list, and that's not a paragraph, okay? That's not going to get you a high score in task achievement, believe me. In conclusion, when dealing with jobs, everyone will have reasons to stay put or go out in the wild. Or you've already used this vocabulary, and we're going to talk about it in a moment. However, changing jobs can surely, is that a double L? Okay, no single L here, please. Changing jobs can surely be more beneficial than staying in the same one, for it can better prepare us for different outcomes and give us some other perks. All right. I didn't like that you used the same vocabulary, and in fact, I wanted to talk to you about that vocabulary. For me, it felt a little too colloquial, a little too spoken, not entirely appropriate to this kind of writing. We like this going out in the wild. It might have been interesting when I saw it here, but I certainly didn't want to see it again. When you use vocabulary like that, the more you use it, and the same holds true for higher level vocabulary words as well, when you use them more than once, they really lose their effectiveness. I kind of felt like it was a little too idiomatic, but that's also because I prefer essays that sound a little more academic. Um, there is no rule that says you can't use language like this. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times we avoid these kinds of to stay put. Are the idiomatic expressions? Yes. I suppose it's okay. Like I said, it might just be a personal choice that I'm not a huge fan of these. Because I prefer the essays to sound a little more formal. But I think you could probably get away with it. All right, so for me, I saw a lot of good stuff here. I saw good structure. I saw good grammar. There wasn't a lot wrong. There were a couple of little things with vocabulary. What I want you to work on, however, is your task achievement. Okay, remember what I said about really expanding your main ideas, going further. Like if at the end of the sentence you can ask yourself why, and then there's an answer, you want to include that in your paragraph. Okay? Because it means that there's more to say. There's more that you can write in order to develop your ideas fully. And the better you do that, the better chance you have of doing really well in task achievement. Okay, so it's your first set. Great job. Let's see more work from you. I'll be looking forward to it. So good luck to you.